I don't know, and that's the hypocrisy of the West. So.
So where do you think the solution is, or how do you think this will shift? Because it feels really negative right now, just in the, like even when we were in the spaces, there's such high emotions about it. But I wanted to hear your perspective because that's, when you talk to your father, when you talk to your family, and you're wanting to connect with your family that you can't connect with, it's more than just a geopolitical issue. It's an emotional issue. So how does this get resolved, and what do you see? Do you see us coming into peace in the spring, or do you see this kind of like Russia just forever being this enemy to the West, and this NATO expansion, and America just this, I don't know, Cold War playing out to almost a hot war, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I think that so there's responsibility and guilt on both sides.
Mhm.
I don't think that the Russians have helped themselves at times with the way that they have been a bit reckless in their foreign policy. What they're doing in Ukraine is not good. What they're doing in what
He
they have
did what
done
America
is,
did in Ukraine wasn't good. I mean, like in 2014 with the Maidan coup. I mean, that's historically, I mean, it's been proven that America intervened, that the emails and the phone calls were made public. Victoria Nuland was part of that, as was Michael McFaul, some of the others. And they wanted a different regime in Kiev, and they got it. Um, don't you think America shares some responsibility in going around trying to spread democracy?
well,
Because
as
right
I
now
said,
we have
I think there's responsibility and guilt on both sides. So
yeah.
I think I made that clear. I think I'm not going to go into 2014. It's too nuanced for this conversation, but I
Okay.
think that one was the events that happened in 2013 and 14, and the other is a full scale conflict. I mean, Russia does have a very particular way of conducting war. It's called total war, which means that they will not hold any prisoner. They will simply fling as many bodies at the issue as they need to win their goals. They will ransack and flatten anywhere that gets in their way. Scorched earth policy, it's known as the Soviet doctrine from the Second World War. And they did this with every country, every city. Think of Grozny in the Chechnyan Wars in 1999. That was what they basically did in Mariupol. Now, again, not saying that the Americans are guilt-free but they don't conduct war, I think, in the same way. If people want to push back on me on that one, I'm open to examples
Or
where they
like
have.
Libya. I mean,
No, I'm open to debate about that. But my point being is that um, the Americans and the West, to flip it and over to the other side now, certainly haven't helped the situation. I think that the continual expansion of NATO was one of the most unconsidered and quite sort of, well, it wasn't done tentatively enough. There was too much like, right, we're going to incorporate 6 or 8 states in 1999. We're going to incorporate another country. We're going to incorporate another country. Not to mention that this was also when the EU ascension was happening. We had the A8, which was much of the former Soviet states, and the A2, Romania and Bulgaria, in 2014. So simultaneously, you have a security group purposely created in 1949 to withhold and withstand the spread of communism, but also directly created against the Soviet Union, um, encroaching on more and more the borders of Russia. Russia's security concerns are a valid feeling for Russians to have. I'm not, and I think the West, particularly the United States and Britain, should do a better job of understanding that. It's too much of this. Well, the Russian, look at pop culture, much of the 1990s. How many films did you have with Harrison Ford playing some kind of role where, the Russians are the bad guys and he's coming to save the day, and the CIA as the president, as whatever, all the blockbuster films from the 90s, right? The
yeah,
Russians are scapegoats often.
always. There's a
So
lot of
I think
undertone propaganda, I guess, if you will. Yeah.
Propaganda, narrative pushing, sure. Everybody does it. Some are just better at it.